Very, very disappointing to come away with a loss in that game. You know, can't be -2 versus a good football team, and that's really the story of the football game.
Five-man pressure, Flacco on a slant off. Flacco sets up the screen, but it's batted down.
The Cleveland Browns were this close to pulling off an opening day win until Joe Flacco's two devastating interceptions completely unraveled their chances. With the game on the line, Flacco's mistakes were the kind that can haunt a team for weeks. It was a heartbreaking loss, especially with how much the Browns had fought to stay in the game. But those two crucial throws to the other team? Well, that was the turning point, the moment that gave the Cincinnati Bengals the chance to seal it. Now, this isn't just about those interceptions. There's so much more that went wrong for Flacco and the Browns in this game. Let's get into the details and see exactly how this all fell apart. Flacco seemed rusty right from the get-go. It wasn't just the interceptions that gave you that feeling, it was his entire approach to the game. Right from the start, his throws were rushed, erratic, and lacked the precision we expect from a veteran. One of the first signs of his rust came in the opening quarter. The Browns were in a critical spot, and Flacco had to deliver a ball to Jerry Jeudy, who was open in the pocket. But instead of placing it where Jeudy could make a play, Flacco threw it overhead, way off target. The ball slipped right through Jeudy's hands, and just like that, you could feel the tension rising. That moment, it was a clear signal that Flacco wasn't the same quarterback that many thought he could still be. That kind of rust isn't something you shake off in a game like this, and unfortunately for the Browns, that shaky start set the tone for what was to come. Those early mistakes didn't just affect the play calling, they set a pattern that haunted Cleveland for the rest of the game.
Five-man pressure, Flacco on a slant off.
And that rust? It didn't stop there. It kept creeping up on Flacco, play after play. Just when you thought things couldn't get worse, he fumbled again. This time, he tried to improvise, moving around the Bengals' defense in an attempt to make something happen. But instead of staying calm and controlled, Flacco lost his footing. In his scramble, he lost the ball, and not just the possession. He ended up throwing it out of bounds, completely wasting the opportunity. At that point, it was hard to ignore the alarming truth. Flacco was losing his rhythm within the game. Every move he made seemed forced, rushed, and out of sync with what the team needed. For a quarterback who was supposed to bring stability, he was starting to look more like a liability. The clock was ticking, and with every misstep, the pressure mounted. Then came the moment that completely shifted the game. A disastrous throw by Flacco. With the Browns still in it, he tried to make a quick pass to his receiver, but once again, he made the wrong choice. Instead of delivering the ball to a player with a little more space, Flacco went for the runner who was heavily pressed by Bengals defenders. The throw was rushed. There was no room for the receiver to adjust, and before you knew it, the ball ended up in the hands of a Cincinnati defender. Interception. That pick? It was a game changer. Up until that point, the Bengals were trailing. But now, with that turnover, they smelled blood. They knew they had a window of opportunity to flip the game in their favor, and they seized it. For Flacco, though, the moment was even more telling. It was clear now, he just didn't have the same magic he once had. The confidence he needed was gone, and with it, the Browns' hopes of a season-opening win began to fade. That interception wasn't just a bad play. It was the turning point that handed the Bengals the momentum they needed to take control. And if you thought that was the end of it, you'd be wrong. Just one play later, the same story unfolded. Another rushed throw, and this time, the ball fumbled right out of the hands of the receiver. The Browns had no chance to recover, and it was like déjà vu all over again. The pressure was mounting, and Flacco's nerves were starting to show. With every snap, you could see him getting more and more uncomfortable, desperately trying to get the ball out of his hands before the defense could close in. The problems kept piling up for Flacco, and it was becoming painfully obvious. He was rattled. Instead of playing with the calmness and precision needed at the quarterback position, Flacco was rushing everything. His throws, his decisions, his movement. The rhythm was completely gone, and with each mistake, the confidence of the entire team was slipping away. And then, as if things couldn't get worse, Flacco, under heavy pressure, threw yet another loose ball. After the game, Kevin Stefanski addressed the media, and it was clear from his demeanor that he was visibly frustrated by the way things unfolded. You could see the weight of the loss on his shoulders. He spoke candidly about how things could have turned out differently, if only the team had taken care of the little things. Specifically, he pointed to the tipped balls that ended up being critical turnovers. Stefanski acknowledged that those mistakes were avoidable, and had they been more disciplined in those situations, the outcome might have been a lot closer or even different. It wasn't just about the turnovers, though. Stefanski's frustration seemed to stem from the fact that there were moments in the game where the Browns had control, where they were in striking distance. But those small, sloppy mistakes piled up, and Flacco's inability to execute in those key moments only made things worse.
Very, very disappointing to come away with a loss in that game. Can't be -2 versus a good football team, and that's really the story of the football game.
In conclusion, Flacco's first game of the season has made it painfully clear why he's no longer considered one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. From the rushed throws to the costly turnovers, his performance was a stark reminder that the years have caught up with him. His inability to settle into a rhythm and the consistent mistakes under pressure put the Browns in a tough spot. And at this point, it's hard to ignore the fact that he's simply not the same player he once was. If Flacco's play continues to be as erratic and mistake-prone as it was in this opener, it's only a matter of time before the Browns are forced to consider other options. Both Shedeur and Dillon are waiting in the wings, and with the talent they bring, the writing might be on the wall for Flacco. The Browns can't afford to keep relying on a quarterback who's losing his grip on the game. If this trend continues, it won't be long before one of those younger quarterbacks is given the starting spot. Flacco's future with the Browns is now very much in question. And if things don't change quickly, we could see a shift under center sooner rather than later. What do you guys think? Is it time for the Browns to move on from Flacco, or should they give him more time to shake off the rust? Do you believe his performance in this opener was just a fluke, or is it a sign of things to come? With players like Shedeur and Dillon on the roster, how long should Cleveland wait before making a change? Are you confident Flacco can turn it around, or do you think the starting spot should already be up for grabs? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear what you think.